I'm gonna drink this hot sauce any second now. So last week I said that if you guys put Zweihander, the music that I make, if you guys put that on the main page of Bandcamp, I was going to eat a spoonful of Jolikia sauce before I do the tech, which means there will probably be no tech today. So let's go ahead and get started. What am I going to do next week if they put it back on the main page?
Stapler?
Stapler to the head?
No.
No, that's probably a bad idea. This is going to turn into like a freak show. You know something? I use this on my food. That's about all I'm going to do, guys. It's freaking Jolikia sauce. Ghost pepper, if you will.
Oh, you should hold it up.
Let's see the sauce here. It's actually very tasty. Melinda's Jolikia sauce. It's very tasty, very spicy. They recommend like a couple drops per gallon or whatever. So I'm gonna eat this stuff.
I once had someone make chili, and he put 3 drops in a 5-gallon container, and it was too hot to eat.
Well, I mean, I put a few drops in like a bowl of soup or whatever, like 4 or 5 drops.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. But I'm also stupid. But right now I'm going to eat this and just see what happens. I'll probably get the hiccups, but I'm going to keep going. This is all your fault for doing this. Gotta let it sit in your mouth for a minute, so you get the full burn. Oh, Lord. That's delicious. Before I get the hiccups, let's get started with today's stuff. I forgot what planet this is. I'm not going to touch that water because that water, number one, it's radioactive. But number two, water is just going to,
It's going to end badly.
It's going to swirl it around. So remember we talked about the guys in Connecticut that we were going to destroy all the violent video games? Remember that? Well, they're no longer going to destroy all the violent video games because they say that they have done enough by raising awareness. So moving right along, that's the follow-up.
They're going to plant a flower garden instead.
Oh, that's nice. Amazon, they're launching an auto-rip service. Here's the way this works. There's like 50,000 artists in their catalog or whatever. If you have a CD, it will look at your CD and be like, oh, you got the CD, and now you have that MP3 in your Amazon account. Pretty cool. They're kind of one-up in the Apple Store.
What's really interesting about that is that...
No. I'm like, I want. Whoo! Sorry.
Okay, so Amazon has this thing where you can put in a CD, and then that proves that you own it, and then they give it to you electronically, which is exactly what MP3.com was doing after Napster. And they got sued for it and lost.
They lost. And right here it is, the Wikipedia suit, UMG versus MP3.com. So if you're a small company, and the technology is new. That's the thing. This technology was groundbreaking. Well, not really groundbreaking, but it was a new idea. And people are not used to new ideas, and so therefore they look at it and they're like, must kill it with fire. Amazon, a major corporation. My lips red? I look like I'm wearing lipstick?
Yeah, they're getting redder.
My tongue is swollen. It's hard to talk, so I'll keep going. So Amazon here, I haven't forgotten everything.
Okay, so Amazon's doing what MP3.com did a long time ago and got sued and lost. And the gist of it is if you have a CD, format shifting, space shifting, and time shifting should be okay. But the judge in this case said that MP3.com was doing a virtual space shift, which is not allowed because it's their computer and their equipment that's doing the space shifting, and it's like, that's BS.
I made a huge mistake while you were talking. I took a drink of water.
Uh-oh.
It's so much worse now. Because it's just like, I was like, maybe this will help, but it never does.
I wasn't paying attention. I couldn't stop you.
Oh, God. So, yeah. In the UK, this was made legal last year in a court case. So in 2011. Oh, 2011, so about a year ago.
It's still perhaps a little, it's not, okay, yes.
Gray area, maybe.
It's still a little bit gray because it depends on who does the format shifting and who does the space shifting, which is absurd. It's completely absurd.
Amazon's going to get away with it, I can guarantee you.
Yeah. Well, probably.
Yeah, probably. Now, this is kind of interesting. Anonymous has filed a petition to make DDoS attacks a legal form of protest. Because right now, if the DDoS attack happens, it raises a lot of awareness to a certain issue. And that's sort of the same thing that used to happen with lock-ins and sit-ins where people chain themselves to a building. They would get arrested. They would get in trouble. But it was a non-violent form of protesting.
Now, what's really interesting about this is last year on a very early episode of the Tech, I think
Yeah.
we talked about the Anonymous. I think provided their software tool. I think it was the low orbit ion cannon.
Yeah, it was just a
And
DDoS tool.
Yeah, it was
and
just
anybody could download it and use it. We didn't do that, but other people did.
well, there was like a bunch of people downloaded it and used it, and it was targeting like Mastercard, and I think for taking money away
PayPal.
from WikiLeaks and PayPal and things
Yeah.
like that. And but what happened from that is more disturbing. There was an international manhunt.
I know they spent millions of dollars going around looking for teenagers, essentially. So
Well-
they've got machine guns, right?
Yeah, when they actually found the people that had done this, it turned out that like teenagers and kids had downloaded this low orbit ion cannon, and so they sent in like full riot gear, 30-person SWAT team to arrest a pimply faced 14-year-old student. I mean, with sit-ins, it's denial of service really is.
It's a sit-in.
Yeah, it really is like a sit-in, and there are a lot of people who are like, it's really, if protest is fine, but it can't disrupt anything. But it's no, sit-ins were very disruptive. I mean, the definition from Wikipedia says that people would sit in strategic locations, usually inside a business or blocking a street or in a government or corporate office or whatever, and they remain there until they're evicted. And when they were arrested, they were usually charged with trespassing. Trespassing does not warrant having a 30-person team storm the castle.
Right, but I mean, it's a very effective way. Like when all this stuff went down with PayPal and MasterCard, I, for one, didn't know that PayPal and MasterCard had shut down WikiLeaks' account. So therefore, it's known on a broad scale, and they've accomplished what they wanted to do. And if the government acknowledges this as a form of nonviolent protest, then everything will be totally different. I mean, of course, they can get arrested and whatnot, but it won't be like millions of taxpayer dollars sent in the SWAT team.
I feel like the way that this was covered in the media when it happened was not characterized like a sit-in. Like a sit-in is like, we shouldn't respond violently to that. They were just sitting in, totally nonviolent. It did not warrant pepper spray. Like we saw with the students.
Yeah, well, people understand a sit-in. If you sit down and you chain yourself to a fence or something like that, people immediately look at it and understand it. But with hacking, there's this whole mysterious, thing, because people do not understand what goes on with hacking, and they think it's some guy, in a lair taking over the world and trying to destroy everything and launching nuclear missiles, and he can break into the Pentagon, and this crazy guy with the neck beard is destroying everything. Or a girl with a neck beard.
I really like there's an XKCD comic, and it's like, somebody, the news announcer says, hackers hacked into the CIA website, and then it's like, what computer scientists hear? Hackers tore down a poster put up by the CIA, and it's like what normal people hear. It's like, hackers broke into the Central Intelligence Agency and got all the data. It's just like...
Exactly. So that's the problem that we're going to be facing right here, is that people do not understand it. When people do not understand it, they tend to nuke it from orbit instead of acting appropriately.
And that's really sad. And it's really sad that no journalist is like wants to cover it in at least.
Are we journalists?
Well, I mean, no mainstream journalist.
Yeah, we're commentators, I suppose.
We have our population of 50,000, give or take, or 30,000.
I think we're at 60 now.
Oh, 60?
Well,
oh, yeah,
every episode's about 30,000 viewers. Why do the rest of you guys even subscribe if you're not going to watch every episode?
What we do drone on for like 45 minutes, so yeah.
I think I should have more of this.
Another spoonful?
I will in a minute.
Oh, God.
Maybe.
So next week, are you going to put it in your eyes if you... No.
Maybe I'll do the tequila in the eye and whatever, the salt over the shoulder and lemon in the... I don't know what to do next week. Anyway, you want to talk about some firearms?
Yay, firearms.
This Linux-powered rifle. $17,000 Linux-powered rifle with auto-aim.
Yeah, the auto-aim is why it's Linux-powered.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this. It's pretty interesting. They're showing it off at CES. They've got it here with the deer. I'm just going to quickly take a look at this. But, yeah, it's you mark your target, and you go over top of it, and then as you're moving, it tells you when you're ready to fire. And, you pull the trigger down halfway. It's kind of like, pushing the button halfway on a camera. It's like, focused, fire.
That's not disturbing at all.
No, it's pretty interesting, I think. I mean...
What, is this product for the amateur sniper?
Well, I mean, they've got it... They're taking... This is, like, supposed to be for hunting, and there's a deer here. It kind of takes the sport out of it. If you are a real hunter, and you want to go hunt, and you're going to consume and eat the deer and hang the skeleton somewhere for all to see or make bone instruments out of it, then that's fine. You go ahead and you do that. I don't care. I'm not going to have much of an opinion on it, whatever. But do it with a bow and arrow.
Was Command & Conquer the first game where you got the little guy that could mark a thing and then a nuke would come down?
I'm not sure if that was the first game or not. I think the original Dune. Dune over here.
Oh
So
yeah.
you can mark things. I'm not sure if you had to mark them or not, but you had a nuke in that game. There
You've
was
given me a
spy
terrible
character.
idea. I want to get one of those quad rotors and then use like a laser pointer or something to mark the target, and then the quad rotor just goes in and takes care of it. That's the next logical step after auto aim.
Yeah, with deer. We've got quadcopters with machine guns taking out deer. Now that is hunting 2.0. So that's pretty interesting. Watson. Remember IBM's Watson? That they put him on Jeopardy and he beat all the human opponents and everything. Watson has tons of information. He's an artificial intelligence developed by IBM, and they let Watson look at the Urban Dictionary. Now the
Ooh.
problem with Watson is, think about Watson as a brilliant infant. He doesn't know what's right and wrong. He doesn't know what's a bad word. He doesn't know what a shard is.
He doesn't really have consciousness, but he's definitely got intelligence.
So they had to remove the Urban Dictionary from Watson because he was incorporating the Urban Dictionary into the way he was speaking. And I want to find a video. There's guys at IBM. If you're inside IBM, leak a video. I want to see Watson talking with the Urban Dictionary. That would be hilarious and scary. H.265 is coming. Very, very soon. It's almost out. Right now, the biggest problem with H.265 is it takes forever to encode. But it's about half the size of H.264. And the quality you're going to get with this, let's say you encode something that is 1080p quality. With H.265 and the exact same file size, you're going to get something that's similar to like 4K quality. So that's pretty epic. That's coming very soon. There's also some open source stuff, and I forgot what it was. It's not H.265, but it's supposed to be just as good, if not better, and it's open source. If one of you guys remembers what that is or knows what that is, put it in the comments, because I looked online real quick before I did the show, and I was like, I forgot what it was. So let me know.
We need these kind of protocols so we can stream high quality on our crappy American internet connections.
Yeah. Less crappy than some places in the world. Speaking of America, let's talk about Europe. I didn't have a segue, but I just forced it, okay? So in the EU, they've got some new privacy laws, and the new privacy laws are going to make it very hard for websites like Facebook and Google, as a matter of fact, like Gmail and stuff, to sell your data or even make any money off of your data. Even if you go through the EULA and it says, hey, we have full rights to sell your data, sell your identity, sell everything about you, use everything about you to give you targeted ads, they're still going to have a ton of legal trouble with this. So what is that going to mean for those accounts over there? In Europe, is Facebook going to end up becoming a paid application? Because they're not going to be able to make any money off of you if you know, all these laws pass and everything. I want to know what some of you guys think. What's going to happen with this? What happens, if Facebook does become an app that costs $2 or $3 a month?
It'll be interesting to see if they make enough money from ad clicks alone to keep it going.
Yeah, because the ads won't be able to be targeted anymore, and Google won't be able to deliver their highly targeted ads. So, so people keep. That's another thing. People on the forum keep asking about really strange ads. We have Google ads. So if you're getting something from Christian Mingle, then that was a specific instance where someone's like, dude, why are there Christian Mingle things on your website? Well, why are you browsing things that make Christian Mingle show up on the website? It's all tailored to what you browse on the web, and then it's thrown onto our site. So if you're looking for combs and afro picks and toothbrushes, then it's going to show up on the website.
That's weird. I only get ads for spent uranium.
Oh, man. Well, let's just move on then.
Oh, right.
Just moving along. Did you hear about Adobe's free Creative Suite 2?
Well, it was almost free.
It was free for a little while.
Well,
and then
no,
the servers went dead.
It was technically never free.
Yeah, well, you still had to sign up for the account, but
Well, no, I mean it was basically what happened was Adobe was like, hey, is there anybody still out there that runs CS2 that actually bought a copy? Oh, there are a few of you. Well, guess what? We're turning off all the servers that make that go. So here, have this special version that doesn't check in and phone home anymore.
yeah, and then now it's gone.
Yeah.
You can't get to it anymore. So everyone was downloading this free version of CS2 and freaking out, and Max came down here yelling, oh my god, CS2 is free. And I'm like, what do we care? You're editing on something else. But hey, CS2 is free.
Well, CS2 is like CS2. It's 7-year-old software. It doesn't really run right on modern machines, like at least not the whole suite. The performance is terrible on modern hardware. The Mac version isn't even designed for Intel Macs. I think it's the PowerPC Macs. So I mean, it's kind of interesting to posit what that would do to GIMP, and would that cannibalize their Photoshop Elements, which is their lower cost version of Photoshop?
Well, that's sort of what Ars Technica has been talking about here. They say that they almost did something amazing, and I'm apt to agree with them to a certain extent. I think that if they did release something for free, it would do several different things. Number one, I think it would maybe expose people who normally could not afford Photoshop. It would expose them to Photoshop, get them hooked on Photoshop or Premiere or whatever, and then make them want to spend the money to upgrade. Now, the Creative Suite is just pirated like crazy. Photoshop is pirated like crazy. So this would give pirates, an option to get something. People are just going to use GIMP anyway, and then it would probably hurt GIMP and all the other alternatives that are coming out. So
it's really a rock and a hard place for Adobe, because something a little slightly more modern like CS3 or CS4 would probably work better with Windows 7 and Windows 8, but Adobe doesn't want to support those old versions and make patches.
Yeah, CS2 on Mac, like you just said, is PowerPC, right?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't even work. But that's kind of an interesting thing that people were all excited about it for a little while, and then it didn't really happen. So software manufacturers, not just Adobe, think about doing stuff like that, making your old versions free. It could be a good way to, do something cool. You seen the time?
Rant 30.
It is Rant 30. We are not at CES this week.
Because CES is kind of silly.
It's kind of silly. I went to CES last year, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of silly. And it's in Vegas, and that's really silly.
Well,
So,
and you look at all the products last year, and all the really cool products from last year were not announced at CES.
no, they were announced at either CeBIT in Germany, right? Germany, CeBIT, and then Computex, Taipei, or PAX. PAX.
Or companies just did it on their own thing. They had their own press event.
Yeah, they had their own thing. Okay, so there's Qualcomm still thinks that CES is a big deal, and they made a big deal out of CES, and this is hilarious. The Verge put together probably the best video they've ever released, and the description is all caps, OMG, what is happening? And this is the Qualcomm keynote, and this is why we are not there, because this is what CES has turned into. They just took every meme and every bad idea and threw it all together and shook it up and put Maroon 5 on stage, which, why would they do that? And then they've got like actresses coming out in Rolls Royce. It's an amalgamation of what the yes. There it is. So I'll just play this for just a second. Just so you can get an idea. I'm not going to play the entire Verge video because you're going to have to go over to Verge and watch it. We'll give them a nod.
I'm part of a new generation.
Have you seen this yet?
But better
This
known
is
by
really
Tornado.
horrifying.
Tornado 92.
Yeah, you guys are just going to have to go watch
The
this.
world from backstage. So eat it, Volcano Mod 53. Ooh!
It's like a train wreck. You
I
can't
have
stop
a sweet
watching.
job and a hot girlfriend, and by hot I mean like.
Okay,
sweat.
it's offensive. This guy is supposed to be a gamer. It's supposed to be like an online gamer. That's what they're portraying him as.
He's an actor, and it's like, what's your motivation? It's like, well, you're a gamer from a parallel universe that's slightly more dysfunctional than our own universe.
I think the motivation is like, just get out there and flail around, and here's a ton of money. That's his motivation. You're going to get all this money. Just go out there and make an ass out of yourself.
No.
And guess who shows up in this thing? It wouldn't be a terrible event, especially it wouldn't be a terrible keynote if, you know who? Let me show you who shows up, right? Give him 1 second.
Step forward. And this year, Paul?
Balmer just pops out of the
Balmer
woodwork.
just pops out of nowhere for the Qualcomm thing. Guys, you have to watch this. It's already got 100,000 hits. It's been online for like a day.
Train wreck.
It's amazing. I mean, the first comment is, of course, guess what? This video gave me cancer.
It gave me cancer, cured it, and then gave me cancer again. Do we want to mention the only cool thing that was at CES?
Oh yeah, the only cool thing at CES was, where is it at? Oh, guess who's got it?
Linus.
Yeah, he's at CES, so we don't have to be because he can take care of all this for us, right, Linus? So Linus is here holding the Asus TX300 Transformer book, and this is Windows 8 on like one of their transformers. Is this 10 inches or what is this thing?
13.3, 1080p.
So it's a little 1080p.
Yeah.
Now the cool thing about this is it has the dock, and take like the form factor of their ZenBook and then mix that with the transformer, and the screen pops off just like Linus did. Thank you so much for being our correspondent, unwillingly and unwittingly, Linus.
He can hear us through the TV. It's fine.
Yeah,
If you yell loud enough, he can totally hear you. I think he's pretending it's a phone right now.
yeah, I told him to do that. Dude, how are you, Linus? I'm glad you're there. If you're at PAX, let's get together and do something ridiculous.
If they let you keep that and you're not going to do anything with it, send it to us. We will augment it.
Yeah, we'll send it back. We'll give it like eyes.
We upgraded the crap out of that other ZenBook, and that has been a really solid platform.
Yeah. So there's Linus. Paul and Kyle, all you guys, what's up? Hope you guys are having fun out there in Vegas. If I was out there, I would be up at Red Rock, and you guys wouldn't be seeing me. That place is awesome, Red Rock. Is that what it's called? Red Rock something Canyon?
I think so.
Yeah. That's where I was at CES. Like, as soon as I'd go for half a day and I'd be like, I'm going to Red Rock. All right, let's talk about some more hardware, shall we? Micron has announced, actually, they're about to release 1 terabyte SSD. And here's the fun part about this. $600.
We're almost to 50 cents a gigabyte.
Yeah, it's Crucial and Micron together. It's the M500. That's so cheap. And,
I think the current best price on mechanical hard drives is around 7 cents a gigabyte for comparison.
It's not going to be the fastest thing in the world. It's going to be close, and for the amount of storage you're going to get, no one's going to complain. 500 megabytes per second, that's the read speed. And if you're going with the 1 terabyte flavor, you're actually getting 960 with like 40 for over provisioning. And that one is going to be 400 megabytes per second write. And then the slower and the lower size versions, like the 480, is 250 megabytes per second write, and the 120 gigabyte flavor is going to be 130 megabytes per second write. So, yeah, pretty insane. Now, Samsung has announced an 8-core processor for their mobile devices. It's actually not really an 8-core processor. They say 8-core processor, there's just 8 cores in there. What they have 2 quad cores in there. They've got one, which is the ARM Cortex A15, and then one, the ARM Cortex A7. Now, the ARM Cortex A15 will come on when you need like tons of power. They can both work together as well, and then when you don't need that much power, the Cortex A7 will take over and do all the stuff, and it will save a lot of battery life. So it's really, it's going to add a lot of performance because you can use all that stuff at the same time, but pretty interesting.
I can play a 3D game on my phone for 20 minutes and then it's stone dead.
Yeah. But if you're not playing a 3D game, you'll be using the Cortex A7 for all your standard stuff, and it won't drain the battery. So you have longer battery life, but still have the extra power you need. Probably going to cost a chunk of change, too. And we might be seeing this with their new Tizen-based phones and not Android phones, but who knows? We'll see. We'll just have to see what comes out of this. More hardware news. Oh, there's Linus again. What's up? DDR4, Crucial has been showing off some DDR4 modules. So let's just talk a minute about the specs. The modules that they have right now are 2133 megahertz only, 2133 megahertz. But we're going to see these go probably beyond 3000 megahertz. So we'll hit 3 gigahertz with our memory. The one thing that's really cool about this, 1.2 volts. So lower power, faster speeds, and it's coming in 2013. I'm not sure what chipsets we'll be seeing this on, but I would imagine we'll be seeing this on the Ivy Bridge E. You seen the Ivy Bridge E's for the 2011?
Have not.
Ooh. We'll probably see some new chipsets coming out of that. And also the new Intel parts that are coming out very soon. We got Haswell, and what else is coming out? I forgot.
The ultra low power Ivy Bridge. At CES, they were supposed to debut some very, very low power Ivy Bridge for select OEM partners or something for the mobile.
Have you seen anything on that yet? It might be out there, but
I didn't get anything official.
Man, my endorphins are going crazy right now. This is drug of choice, y'all. Just don't snort it. Trust me. Do not snort it.
That would probably end badly.
Yeah. IEEE. They have approved 802.11ad. It's freaking fast. Now, it's going to use the unoccupied or the unlicensed 60 gigahertz radio spectrum, which is like 57 to 66 gigahertz. It's going to be tri-band.
Well,
And
the FCC's also opened up more Wi-Fi.
yeah, they've opened up more Wi-Fi to improve the regular Wi-Fi speeds by up to 30%. I think I closed that article because I figured this was more fun, but the FCC has done that, and then IEEE has approved the 802.11ad.
The triple band thing, for if that doesn't immediately make sense to you, triple band, what it means is there's 3 radios using 3 different frequencies at the same time. So if you got some noise or something drops out on one of the frequencies, the other 2 frequencies take over. So you end up having a much more reliable wireless experience, and you get a lot more throughput because it's basically 3 channels going at once.
Now the maximum speed on this is 7 gigabits per second.
Which is, pretty damn fast.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm sure the devices that come out, you may not see it hit a full 7, but if it's anywhere close or over 5, I'm happy. Oh, that's going to be a stomach.
Hiccups will kick in any minute now. Have another swig of water?
Yeah, the hiccups didn't. I didn't have the hiccups this time. That's pretty nice. I usually get when I eat that much of that stuff, like in a short period of time, I usually get the hiccups because my throat closes and I'm suffocating over here.
That's your body's way of saying, stop hurting me.
Yeah, I used to be a Catholic and I have to edit all this out. What are the Agnus Dei or something? The guys, that was one of those. Yeah. So the paper tab. Have you seen these little guys? Paper tab. It's 10.7-inch sheet of plastic. It's malleable plastic. You can bend it around. It looks almost like a piece of paper, and it was developed at the Queen's University in Canada. Now, this is interesting. You have to plug it in. There's no electronics in the actual paper. I mean, there's electronics, but there's no like CPU processor and all that stuff. And it's running off of an i5. But I'll go ahead and play a little bit of a video in here. It looks kind of like e-ink, and it seems like an interesting development. Well, frankly, I think the actual screen and everything looks kind of goofy, but
paper tab is tracked on a desk through an
see, they're all plugged in. That's kind of a deal breaker for me, having to have it plugged into an i5 or something like that. But it's just a showcase to show you what it can do.
It might be a good second display for notebooks.
Yeah, you just plug it in and have a second display.
Or if it's like built into the display and you can just pull out a sheet.
Yeah, and they're showing different things you can do with it, like maps and architectural things. If you put two of them beside each other, you can click and drag things from one display to the other.
Allowing the user to flip through its contents without requiring buttons or swipe gestures. Here we see how a user uses a bend gesture to fast forward through a video.
So, there it is.
That could be cool.
Yeah,
there was a company that was making business cards that were like this. Like you could have a USB functionality embedded in paper, and then they had a little adapter to go from USB to paper, and you could actually put files on business cards or something.
But you'd have to plug it in for it to do anything. It wouldn't just. There's no battery or anything like that, right? It wouldn't just show up on the card.
Yeah.
When they get something like that, then I'll be impressed. Like everything integrated into the piece of paper, a battery, tiny little processor, a nano processor, or something like that. If they have nano processor, all that'd be kind of cool. Talk about science, shall we? It's time for science.
It is time for science. It's always time for science.
That's right. It's always time for science. I want that on a T-shirt.
We like science because science is based in reality and not crazy people babbling on about things.
Yeah, and science is where everything else in the world comes from. So, full sight has been restored to blind mice using a new stem cell therapy.
Dun 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 dun.
This is really cool.
So what you're telling me is those mice have the mark of Satan and are doomed to eternal damnation.
Yeah, pretty much. This is big stuff. Stem cells. All right, let's go bomb the clinic.
It turns out you can fix a lot of things with stem cells. I mean, the scientists... I wonder if the scientists in their lab were like, well, I've got this amazing thing I've discovered that will cure humanity, but I'm not sure if the crazy people will harass me, so maybe I shouldn't report it.
Well, this is up at the University of Toronto, which is just on the other side of the border from the crazy.
Well, that's the difference, probably.
Yeah. In Toronto, they get away with, stuff like this, but doing this here, I mean, people be driving from Alabama to wherever it's with their pitchforks. Sorry, you know what? I bother Alabama so much. Mississippi. All right, we'll talk about Mississippi. In Florida. Parts of Florida are pretty crazy. In Kentucky. Where I grew up in eastern Kentucky. But they're too busy handling snakes, and they don't usually get the news until about 4 weeks later because they got to pipe in the sunlight and pipe in the... I live so far back in the mountains, you got to pipe in the sunlight.
Oh, dear.
So they did that, and I'll let you guys read that article, but they've also been able to repair hearing loss in mammal? In a mammal?
Yeah.
In mammal.
In mammal ears.
Yeah, so what they've done is this is hearing loss, and it's not like, someone was born deaf or anything like that, but the mammal had suffered some sort of trauma and lost hearing, so they were able to regrow the hair follicles and restore partial hearing to these mammals. So that's pretty cool. I'll let you guys read this entire article, but I thought it was kind of cool that both of those things have happened in the same period of time. And this happened in Massachusetts at the, where's it, Harvard? Yeah, the eye and ear at Harvard Medical School. So that's pretty cool. Chassamusets. That's what I've been calling it, Chassamusets. And you guys should too. Let's start a movement. And we'll all...
I think the hot sauce has gone to his brain.
Chassamusets? Ooh, that'd be a good name for a hot sauce. I have no idea why. I just like that word.
Massachusetts.
We're from Massachusetts. We talked about this a while ago. They're going to Mars. Who's going to Mars? Who's going to Mars? Someone's going to Mars?
Volunteers are wanted for a one-way ticket to Mars.
Yeah, Mars 1. And we talked about this. It's still going on, and it's I guess just now on Gizmodo. I don't know. But there's now like new snazzy videos out. You can watch these videos and get excited about going to Mars. Play it later. Yeah. Talk about games. There's not a lot going on in the gaming world this week. I mean, everyone's playing the games they picked up at Christmas because that was the big time. And right now, on the 1st of January, there's not a lot coming out. But Sony is going to jump into the games store business, so they're going to have their own platform like Steam and like the Ubisoft nonsense and the Origin nonsense. There's going to be a Sony browser-based store.
I thought the headline was really hilarious because it's like, Sony finally gets e-commerce store. It's like,
Finally.
It's like they finally caught up to 1998.
The other thing I want to talk about is it's 2013. There's a lot of interesting games coming out this year. And we've got Wikipedia up here. There's a lot of games that are not on here, like indie games and that sort of thing, but I want to know what you guys are going to be playing. We're going to start a forum topic. I'll list the games that I'm looking most forward to this year and see what games you guys are really looking forward to. If you guys know of any really cool indie games that are coming out, let me know. It'd be nice to be turned on to some of those games. Just going through the list here, and this is the list of all platforms. We're going to mostly keep it to Linux and Windows. But, you know, Crysis 3 is coming out soon. I don't know about that. Aliens Colonial Marines looks like it might be interesting. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. Devil May Cry is coming out. Let's see what else we have. Oh, we've got The Sims 3 University Life. I cannot wait for the 700th expansion to The Sims 3.
That's from Electronic Arts, isn't it?
I don't know.
That explains it.
Yeah. Like they are just milking that franchise so much. Resident Evil 6 is coming out. We've got a new Final Fantasy MMO coming out, and everyone's looking forward to it because they shut the last Final Fantasy MMO on a strange note when I think it was the world was being destroyed or a meteor hit the Earth or something. So a lot of people are looking forward to that. Star Trek is coming out for Windows, PS3, and Xbox 360 in April. I don't know much about this Star Trek title. It's just Star Trek. I think it's Abrams, right?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Abrams' universe.
Yeah.
And everyone will want to slit their wrists and die.
Unless it's a good game. Well, maybe it'll be an FPS. Remember what was the FPS, the Star Trek FPS that came out a while back, several years ago?
Can't remember. Can't say as I played it.
What?
I don't think I played it.
Oh, I thought we played that.
Did we?
Yeah, it was like a long time ago.
Well, I either had an aneurysm or it wasn't that good.
It was pretty good. It was actually a pretty good game. It was almost as good as like Dark Forces.
I vaguely recall a Star Trek game with Q.
I don't remember. I'm also really looking forward to Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs. That's going to be a lot of fun. Battlefield 4? No, sure. Why not? So a lot of good things coming out. Who knows? Maybe Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's not even on the list. So let me know what you guys are looking forward to. In other news, we got a video on this thing coming up. This is the 8350 that's beat the Intel processors in our gaming tests. I wanted to give it a nod on the show. I've been giving this thing a lot of nods, and this will be like the last time I talk about it. You guys are just going to have to go watch the video.
Well, the level of insanity there is really insane. Like, we had to redo everything 85 times just because it was so insane.
Yeah, because I kept reading different reports from different websites, and most websites would benchmark 2 or 3 games, like Crysis, Battlefield, Shogun, or something like that, like 3 games, and the Intels would beat this thing every single time. There are a couple websites out there that I saw that did benchmark it with several other games, and with those I was like, oh, the 8350 is doing well. So we benchmarked it ourselves here in the studio against all these Intel parts here. i7s and i5s and everything like that. We've got the 3770K, 3570K, and also the 3820. That's a socket 2011, and it beat all of them on almost every benchmark, and some of them it handily beat. And when we introduced streaming, I think the Intel parts won like the Crysis benchmark. But when we started streaming using XSplit, just streaming to the web, it was faster. So even though the Intels beat it without streaming, this thing was very good at streaming and also very good at capturing using fraps. So
it's very surprising results.
Yeah, we haven't done the productivity benchmarks yet, but if you're just gaming for $169, it's a very good way to go. And I'm kind of shocked that a lot of people are not recommending this thing.
And
not a lot of people are recommending this thing.
If you do things like Let's Play, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it really is, because a lot of people are going out and getting capture cards and stuff like that to help. I'm not sure if it's capture cards the right thing I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. They're getting extra cards to put in there just to do the rendering on board and the encoding on board. Yeah. So I like it a lot, and it makes me happy. So there it is. That's the end of this thing. Oh yeah, we got a new Kickstarter going on. It's so we can buy cheese sandwiches and feed elephants. So check that out. And if we raise enough money, I'll rent an elephant and feed it a cheese sandwich. I will do this.
We might actually just go to the zoo and feed an elephant a cheese sandwich.
Well,
Or some appropriate substitute that won't destroy the elephant's gastrointestinal tract.
there's got to be a cheese sandwich. I told him it says it on the Kickstarter. It's got to happen.
Cheese
I
or
mean,
cheese-
on the chip in.
Cheese or cheese substitute.
You guys will think it's a cheese sandwich. We're going to lie to our audience. This is a cheese sandwich, even though it's going to be like Marmite or something. Can they eat Marmite?
It's going to be elephant feed.
We'll feed an elephant something that looks like a cheese sandwich. All right. Get off my back, everybody. Do all I can here. So I'll see you guys next week. Maybe subscribe down there. Thank you guys for being awesome. Thank you guys for picking up
Maybe
the
you'll
Fly
see us next week.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh yeah, we didn't tell what we're gonna do next week. I don't know. Coffee and this, a shot of this and a cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee or a huddle of coffee.
I don't think I could do that again. I was like, after the show, I was staggering and bumping into things in the hall because I was like seeing 7 of everything. Like, Wendell, which one is Wendell? Is that you? Oh no, you're over here.
No, you could probably do a
It's like a
huddle.
boss battle.
A huddle of coffee, and then at the halfway mark through the text, then you do the shot.
But if
of
I
the
get
thing.
back on the first page with Spy Handed, that's what's going to happen. And it'll be crazy and wonderful at the same time. See you guys next week.